Hey traders, it's Taylor with Top Pick Trading. I want to give you guys a bar by bar again today. Marco's out, so you're stuck with me. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you view that. So it's Friday, November 17th, 2023. And so let's get started. 8 o'clock, let's see, yep, this bar formed at 8 o'clock. So right here, you come in and you see that we are trending higher at this point. So you draw this uptrend here. It looks like it probably has played out. It looks like there's almost something from yesterday. You typically don't really look at yesterday's price action, but man, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? So I'd keep an eye on this at least. It looks like maybe there's a little overshoot, maybe a break here, but that's through the overnight, and that happens a lot. So I'd be kind of wary of taking any shorts just yet, because this fits really well. There we go. If I can talk. So anyway, yeah. So you've got the uptrend here, breaking a couple legs up. Now we're trending higher here. See if maybe we can get a failed second entry short here. I'd be wary of it overall because it does appear like maybe it's an overshoot, and this looks kind of rangy as well. But notice we are making higher lows and higher highs, just barely right in here. So I just wait right here, and it does form a failure, but right into the highs, so no trade there. Let's see. Now it looks like we're probably either overshooting or maybe it's a little bit higher like this. Dropping higher, no setup there. That's far from the EMA, but this is just really looking to be trending to me. So, and maybe we want to be wary of this retest leg. Typically, or sometimes they won't get their own retest, but sometimes they will. So we drop below the EMA. Now we're trending pretty strongly to the downside. It looks like a break a new low. Now we're bouncing a little bit below it. We're not quite back at the support, so maybe we can get a higher low or something. And no, we get this trade here, but this is pretty strong, so I don't think I would take that. It's kind of congested, and it's near the support as well. And it appears that your downtrend has a new low already. Dropping lower right into that support. Now it blows below it. And it's still pushing lower. At this point, the retest leg is longer than that initial trend, so it could be wider. That fits decently. Maybe this is an equal high, so from here, yeah, and that looks even better. So I'd be watching this now. And now it looks like either an overshoot or span just ever so slightly. Now the market is opened. We get a first entry short, and then the second entry short right into the lows. Lower high here, but far from the EMA. Just chopping lower. Right into the lows, nothing here. And this, we could draw that retest leg, kind of like a spike in channel. Maybe like this for now. It looks like even it probably has a new low. And we're just pushing way lower. It's still chopping lower, so you may want to adjust. It traveled a little bit, and that actually fits pretty well now. So far from the EMA. That still fits really. Maybe we can get a second entry short. And now we just get the first entry long, but this is clearly an uptrend in play. We get the first entry. Now we're bouncing at the EMA, so second entry is probably not good enough. You get an inside bar, dropping sideways, and now we're just on top of that EMA. I talked about this in Thomas's Discord today, how when you get these pushes above the EMA in a downtrend, you really want, if you're going to take a second entry, you want it to push below it and then test that EMA from the underside. This is just kind of forming on it. It's starting to look a little congested as well. It didn't trigger anyway, and now you get a lower high, but same thing, you're just right on that EMA. Didn't trigger anyway. So now you have the uptrend retest. Could get a new low from this downtrend. It's probable. At this point, I would probably ignore this trend because we're well below the overnight lows, which was right here. So let's see, maybe we get a lower high. Nope, pushes back above the EMA. And this is starting to look more like a range. Let's see. Let me draw this a little bit lower. So we're just chopping sideways here. Don't really see any trends here, just this little range. Making higher highs and higher lows now though. And we get this bar. It's not really, it's kind of right in the middle. So I probably wouldn't take this. It's kind of congested as well. And we're making those higher lows here. It would have worked, but you don't know that. At the support, bar's not great. We've got, 5 bear bars really technically in a row right here. Drops lower, we may get that retest. No, it bounces higher, doesn't quite get back to the support. So I don't think you want to take that. This does look like it has a break a new low though. Strong 3 bull bars. Draw your micro trend. Comes back to the resistance. Gets a new high. And then we get a short opportunity right here. It's still making higher highs though. And it's a little bit congested and you don't have much room to the EMA. So I think you want to be careful on this one. Yeah, it would have stopped you. And now you get another bear bar, but still making higher lows and higher highs. And you get like a triple test here, but an inside bar doji. Now you get a lower high. This one's pretty tempting, really. You've got some room too. The problem is it's into this double bottom right here, and it would have stopped you as well. I think if this formed a little bit higher, maybe, but unfortunately we don't get a bar there, and now it drops lower. If you got something right here with a good bar, maybe you can get it back to this support, but no bar. Lower high, but approaching the support line. Looks like it would have worked, but you don't know that. Well, it may not even have worked. No, it wouldn't have worked either. Bounces. It's just not very clear where the support is, somewhere in here. Didn't quite make it back to it, so I don't think you want to take this. The third entry is what will really even, yeah, third entry. Now we're just in the middle of this range. You're getting good bars though, but that doesn't mean much mid-range. Bouncing here again, but right in the middle. Now we come back to this resistance line. Problem is we broke out 3 times, so at this point you may want to start looking like it's a little bit higher. It wouldn't have triggered anyway. Now you could see this, but it feels a bit wide, but you can watch that. It doesn't really hold, retraces all the way back to the lows. So no trade there, pushes below it. This is still kind of indeterminate area. Looks like maybe it's bouncing at the overall lows, so you may want to adjust to the low here. But it pushes through a little bit, so no setup, and this is a strong move anyway. Strong push above the EMA. It's not getting many setups early on. Higher low, but some congestion here, and you're on the upper side now. Just floating around in the middle. Now this has a break a new high. This one's a little tempting as a visual second entry short at what may be resistance. Problem is you broke out several times right here, so it feels like it's not back to the true resistance. There is some here, but actually there was a similar trade yesterday. I think Mack ended up marking it red, but it wasn't quite at my resistance yesterday or today, so I don't think you want to take that. Pushes lower, not back at the support, just chopping in the middle. No clear trends either way. Chopping higher maybe, slightly. And at this point, you're seeing these higher lows here. You may want to consider something like this. Feels a bit wide for a range, so we probably need more confirmation. But we'll watch that. No setups either way. It is pushing out of the overall resistance here. Oops. And then this looks probably like a trend in and of itself now as well. Going up on those highs, and those highs hold for now at least. So it seems like we're trending. We're going to probably test this range resistance, potentially acting as support now. We get a lower high, but it's right into that support. If this formed a little bit lower and like I mentioned earlier, pushed below the EMA, came back, tested it, maybe you consider that, because this more recent uptrend does have the new high. But we're also worried about this trend here. So we will draw our micro trend. breaks below it, comes back, pushes up to this resistance. We're worried about a micro downtrend getting a retest, but we're also watching this uptrend. And you get a first entry short, and then you get this higher low here. It looks kind of like a visual failure. I'll be honest, I took this in real time as a more aggressive trade, thinking we were going to retest this high. But I think you need a failure to consider going long. As Mack mentions too, you want these breakouts to test, breakout pullbacks to test the support, high right here multiple times before you finally take it. So that one fooled me. You can see it ticked you in by just one tick and then stopped you out. It's a little bit congested as well. But then now you get this failed second entry short and also a second entry long. So I think you can take this trade. It's still aggressive because there is some congestion here. But we're probably going to retest this uptrend high. Comes back. Get a higher low here. Bar's not great. And then you get this higher low here. I think this is a good trade. It's back off this support or off this trend line here. And now we've tested this range high a third time. So I actually think that's a really good trade. There is less room, so you may want to go for a smaller amount. You've still got over 2 points to the high, or right around it. And you get, this is a new low here, so you get another failure, but this one I think forms too high. It would have worked, and now all these other two would have worked as well. Pushes higher. Now it looks like we may have another trend right in here, or even this. Looks like maybe an overshoot though. We'll keep an eye on it. You get a second entry long, but right into the highs. And now we're grinding up. This may be a new high right here. That actually looks pretty good. So we're pretty bullish here. Get a first entry, and then we get a second entry long right off this entry point again. We do have a break and new high from it, but then this looks like this blue trend may need its own retest, and the EMA is now held for, you know, it didn't technically hold here, but it did bounce at it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, almost touched here, 4, and then we've got that fifth test on a second entry long. I think this one's a good trade right here as well. This isn't really congestion in my opinion. It's more up down bar. You can clearly still see the direction. Came down, pushed up for the first entry, and then came down and gave us that second entry. It would have worked nicely. And I also want to show you something on the second chart once we get done with this one. It looks like this is played out, but if you looked at that second chart, it would have looked like this uptrend was still in place. So it's something to keep in mind. And it made me, in real time, based on that second chart, adjust to something like this. And I think that this break right here was insignificant. You probably wouldn't have known that unless you were watching that second chart. I'll show it in a minute. So we're off those highs again. We've got a lower high, but not enough room to the EMA to consider, and we're in an uptrend. Get a second entry long, but that downtrend's still in play. And now you get the break and new low. This is a general support area, so let's see what happens. We get this little bar here that's pretty tempting as a second entry long. So if you took that, I understand why. But a lot of times you want to wait on a true triple test. And if you look at the size of this setup bar, it's 10 ticks compared to the signal bar, which is only 4. So typically you don't want your setup bar to be twice the size or larger of your signal bar. So I think that one's aggressive. If you want to take a chance on that, I understand. It would have stopped you. Now you get a third entry long. Now you get a higher low. This one's pretty tempting, but the EMA just held now. This almost looks like a EMA hold. It technically didn't, but then it held right here, so you want to wait. It would have worked. Get a higher low, but no bar. Now we get a first entry long, and we're still thinking probably uptrend, retest, since we don't think this is a significant break here. And now you get a second entry long, higher low, and one test. This kind of broke below here, but then 2, 3, fourth test. I think this is a good trade here. We pushed above the EMA pretty significantly here, so I'm not too worried about the EMA. You also may have had a little range at this point compared, or in addition to this overall support line. And that would have worked nicely, blows right through the resistance. And this looks like an uptrend retest leg. it could retest as well. Let's see what happens at the EMA, and we drop below the EMA significantly, and then that is 330. So no more trades there. Yep. So you can see how that ended, just kind of chopped sideways, pushed a little bit higher. All right, so I want to show you the second chart now. This gave me some additional confirmation that this uptrend was probably still in play. You can see how nicely it held on this compared to the other chart. I didn't even have to widen, it held perfectly. So, and you can see the confluence on those same three trades, how nice they look. That first one that I took didn't look as nice, and guess what? It failed. But then this one looked nice. The higher low looked really nice, and the second entry long still looked really nice. The only difference is this second entry long didn't look nice on this one. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Quick little overview of the day. So thanks for watching, and y'all have a great weekend.